All right. Good morning, everyone. It is 11:30, which is our meeting start time. So I will begin today by going through our preamble. Hopefully, by the time we're through that, commission member or the committee members will have shown up. The rest of them, and we will have a quorum. But keep things moving along, I'll start with the preamble now. So this is the November 6th, 2025 meeting of the Historic Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee. To go through the virtual meeting regulations and procedures, action during the meeting will be taken by roll call vote. Recusal due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the start of any presentation. The recused committee member will then leave the meeting for the duration of the case discussion. The chair will call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call of the committee. The administrator will introduce the first project. The meeting will then be turned over to the applicant to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the committee. Once the presentation is concluded, the administrator will provide background information and read any received public comment when applicable. The committee will then begin deliberations and project review. Please use the raised hand feature if you'd like to speak. After deliberations and review concludes, the committee will render its recommendation and/or motion. The applicant may leave the meeting at any point after their project review is complete. All projects will follow the same format until all projects are heard by the committee. Once all projects are heard, the chair will call for any committee/administrator reports, and after all reports have been heard, the chair will adjourn the meeting. Regarding community comments, any and all community members may provide their written comments, thoughts, or questions regarding projects presented to the committee. Community members may also telephone their comments or questions to the committee administrator. All comments, thoughts, or questions must be submitted to the committee administrator no later than 48 hours prior to the start of the meeting. Public comment received after the deadline will not be heard by the committee. Public comment will be collected by Landmark staff and sent to the committee members for review prior to the scheduled meeting. Landmark staff will summarize the received comments during the meeting. The applicant of the project is under no obligation to answer any community questions. Community members are invited to attend the Design Review Advisory Committee meetings, but there will be no open public comment period. Regarding design review guidelines, all projects are being reviewed using the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and are being considered for the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness. All projects are considered on a case-by-case basis. Presentations were received and distributed to committee members for review prior to the scheduled meeting. Changes to the presentation after confirmation of receipt by Landmark staff are not shown today. The Historic Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee makes recommendations to the Cleveland Landmarks Commission. These recommendations are not final actions. Depending on the scope of the project, submissions may be approved administratively or will need to be reviewed by the Cleveland Landmarks Commission. If that's the case, projects will be scheduled at the next available commission meeting after an action is taken. As always, we have the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation available, and I'm happy to bring the slide back up if anyone has any questions about the standards or their applicability during any particular project. So with that, I do not see our chairwoman. Alex, do you mind stepping in as chair? I think Nia's supposed to be here, but so hopefully she'll show. But
sure. All right, we'll call the November 6th, 2025 Ohio City Design Review meeting to order, and you can call the roll.
All right, Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Ms. Flaherty? Mara? Are you? I see her there, but I don't know if she's muted.
Sorry, you're talking to me?
No, I could see Mara's here, but didn't hear her say anything during roll call, but move on. Mr. Frondorf?
Here.
Ms. Lamb?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Persons?
Here.
Mr. Trevisano? And Ms. Marinucci?
Here.
And I will, with that, yield the chair back to Nia.
All right.
Thanks. Sorry for my
Yeah, Madam
tardiness.
Chair, it looks like we do have quorum, a full house, which is nice to see. So I guess without any further ado, we'll move on to our first agenda item, which is case HOC 25-48 at 3221 Carroll Avenue for addition and some renovations. So would the applicant like to go through their slide? Just let me know when you'd like me to advance the slides.
Oh, great, thanks. Michael Wellman here. Can y'all hear me okay? You can hear me okay? Great.
Yep. Yes.
I'm the architect, and I believe Kellen Craig is also at the meeting. He can hop in if we need his help. He's the owner. I think this is a pretty straightforward project for you all. It's really just an addition on the rear of the house. Is it best for you to flip through these? I can share my screen. You just want to flip through the presentation?
Yeah, do you want me to just move through as you talk, or did you want to just let me know when you want me to advance? Either way.
That's fine. I'll tell you when to advance. So this is just a site plan to give you a rough idea of what's going on. To the right, the darker portion of the drawing shows the addition at the rear of the house. It's really not going to be visible from the street, and I think you'll be able to gather that from some of the photos. But the addition is going to consist of a great room on the first floor, a screen-in porch on the second floor, and then also a deck on the first floor level. The project has been submitted for building permit. I did get a few comments back from Rodney Wells. I addressed those issues about setback with him and adding a firewall. And then I did get a notice that it was approved by the building department. I was kind of surprised at that because I never got an official email from Rodney, but I think we're in good stead with the building department. You can flip forward a slide. This kind of shows the existing conditions from various views along Carroll Avenue, northeast, southwest, a site aerial. It's a beautiful old house. It's in fairly good condition. It needs upgrades on the inside, and there's some deterioration on the exterior, but it's certainly very manageable. And I think this owner really wants to take care of the house properly. If you could flip forward. This just shows some more photos of the existing house. Some of the existing conditions. Like I said, there's some deterioration. But really, the house is solid and really in pretty good condition. If you look at the rear elevation, that's where the addition is going to occur. Obviously, the house is fairly interesting on the front side, but then they didn't do very much on the back. They left it pretty plain. So it seems like a pretty easy and logical place to add on to this house. Next slide. Now we can probably skip that one. I don't know if anyone has any questions on floor plans. These are just kind of architectural floor plans. First floor, you can see the great room addition, and then the deck at the rear. Second floor plan shows the screened-in porch. Next slide, please. This is the third floor in the existing house. We don't really need to talk about this. Next slide, please. Then we get to the elevations. Again, we're just kind of renovating and repairing the main house, the existing house, on the three elevations that were, where the addition is not occurring. You can see on that bottom drawing how the addition extends on that west elevation there. Next slide, please. Kind of same thing here. You can see the the front of the addition, if you'll want to call it that way, on that south elevation, and then how on the east elevation how the addition extends on the rear of the house. Next slide, please. Building section, probably don't care about that too much. Next slide. And then these are the colors that the owner has chosen to paint the house. Kind of a darkish gray green for the primary color, and then a little bit of a lighter gray green for some of the trim and areas. I believe those are all my slides. If anyone has any questions, me or the owner can chime in. But again, I think this is a pretty straightforward addition on the rear of the house. Won't really be visible from the street. Trying to match all the, new windows will have similar trim and detailing. So I think we're trying to make this, really match with the existing house as much as possible. That's my presentation.
Thank you. One question, and forgive me if you said this, but are the windows being replaced throughout the house?
Yes, they have been already, and Callan, you can chime in if you want to, but not throughout the house. I take that back. The windows on the front. Callan, jump in here. What are the status? What is the status of the windows?
Sure. So the 10 traditional windows that you see, there's 8 on the first and second floor turrets. The turret windows have been replaced with Pella traditional windows, aluminum clad, as have the 2 windows on the front second floor on the, I guess that would be the left side if you're looking at the house. And then the windows on the third floor turret have all been, I don't know what you want to call it, but renovated, essentially, restored. So the existing windows remain, but they've all been restored and painted the same color as the aluminum clad, which is a Sherman-Williams satin steel color, like almost a graphite color.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And are the windows in the proposal in the addition to also be the Pella aluminum clad windows?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. And they'll be traditional as well.
Okay. And the divisions proposed in the windows, are they going to be like simulated divided light, or are they between the glass?
I think we would want to do, typically you do the applied buttons with the simulated divided, the SDLs on the inside. I would propose that that's what we would do to, not true divided light, but simulated divided with the applied buttons on the interior and exterior and the SDLs in the middle.
That's great. That's what I would recommend
Yeah.
and hope for versus the in-between. I think from an aesthetic standpoint, even though it's at the rear of the property and it's not really visible, I would prefer, I think, the railing style to match the more historic style. I think looks more like a aluminum railing. Is that an accurate interpretation of the drawing?
Yeah, and we haven't really gone through railing selection like with the contractor.
Okay.
But I understand your point if you want it to look more like the historic spindles on the front porch.
Mhm. I should add that that wouldn't be a contingency for me. It's just kind of a preference.
Got it. I think we could certainly price that out. That might be fairly much more expensive than a, kind of a traditional aluminum system, but I'd be happy to at least put it in as an alternate and see where it came in.
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other significant comments otherwise. Does anyone else have a thought?
Yeah, I just have a couple questions. On page 9, it's really hard for me to read, but it looks like some of the damaged existing cladding is being replaced. It's called out for on page 9. If you can go to that one, Dan, I think that's where I read it.
I don't know.
My question is it being replaced with the same cladding, wood cladding that is there now.
I think we would
Anticipate.
probably review that with the contractor again. It's always my preference to go back with, like a hardy panel or something that's a little more durable, but still maintain the same exposure, obviously. If wood is easier for them to reinstall, then that probably makes the most sense to just match it with wood.
I'm fine with hardy on the addition on the Newport, but because you're replacing and repairing damaged wood on the front of the historic part of the house, the Secretary of Interior standards require being replaced like with like, and so it would be a condition of my vote that it be replaced with wood.
Okay, and that probably makes the most sense now that we talk about it. I don't think it's an extensive amount of repair work, but there certainly is going to be some. So
sure, of course.
We'll make that wood.
Okay, and then I am reading this right, that it's hard that the new addition is intended to be a hardy board or a cement board product.
I think that would be the preference, yes.
Okay, that would be also a condition of that as well.
That's okay. Great, thanks.
Okay. I think, as best I can tell, that's the questions I have for right now.
I have some questions. It looked like in the house photos that the window sash, the historic sash is just a 1/1. Have those been replaced with divided lights, or are those sash like the second floor or the bottom of the turret? Are those just one pane over one pane, or do they actually have divides?
I think you matched what was existing, right, Callan? Some
Yeah.
were repaired, and we matched, the 1/1s.
Okay. I mean, so that I think it would be consideration, again, like not a contingency thing for me, but a consideration to just do 1/1s in the addition and not even bother with the divides.
Gotcha. So that's not shown correctly in the existing drawings now that I look at that. So they are just 1/1s. They don't have the divisions in it.
Okay, save you some money.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Thank you.
All right.
I thought we could do this a similar look on the addition. You're saying, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I saw that there was some porch repairs proposed. Are you actually replacing any of the material, or is it repaired to what's there?
My hope is that we can use one of two different methods to rebuild that right front stone column base. It's leaning substantially towards the front. I'm hoping that the contractor can come in and just pump up the foundation and straighten that out in place. If he tells me that that's a ridiculous idea, then I would prefer him to dismantle that column and rebuild it with the same stone, on a stable foundation. So I think those are the two avenues we're going to replace. But in either case, the existing stone will remain. And if we need to replace the round wooden columns, they will match the existing, exactly.
Okay. And then same with the, I think I saw that there were deck boards.
Yeah, they're
but
pretty.
not
pretty-
flooring, correct? You were talking about like the skirt versus the actual porch floor.
Well, I think the flooring is pretty deteriorated too, and will need to be replaced. I would think that would just be a match what's there, the tongue and groove.
Yeah, we
Porch
would
boards.
want specified to have the tongue and groove.
Okay.
So, all right. I don't have any actual questions about the addition. That seems to meet the standards from my point of view. That's all my questions then. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, I can make a motion. Okay. I'll move to approve as presented with the condition that the replacements of the siding on the historic house are like for like, that's wood, and on the rear, hardy board product, and with the conditions that, and I forget the exact answer to Nia's question earlier with regard to the windows, but the representation about exterior muttons and aluminum clad wood windows. I think that was it. Someone jump in if I missed something.
So essentially, if the windows do include muttons, that they be expressed on the exterior,
Correct.
but that muttons are not required.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, got it.
That's fair. Yes.
I'll second the motion.
All right, seeing no other hands, hearing no other comments. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Flaherty?
Yes.
Mr. Frondorf?
Yes.
Ms. Lamb?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Persons?
Yes.
Mr. Trevisano?
Yes.
And Ms. Marinucci?
Yes.
All right, Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you guys. Thanks, Michael. We will be in touch about next steps. But thank you
Very good.
much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right. Up next, we have case HOC 25-49 at 2912 Church Avenue for signage. We have James Basie here from Signature Sign. Also, wanted to note that this is going through the Storefront Renovation Program. So we have Gavin McGuire, the newish designer for the Storefront Renovation Program, on the call, as well as Colleen Bowman, the manager of the Storefront Program, just kind of check out our process. But yeah, I guess with that, I will hand it over to James. Just James, let me know when you want me to go through the slides, please. You're muted if you're talking, James. Sorry.
All right, we should be live
Yep.
now. Good morning, board. James Basie with Signature Sign, seeking the board's approval for new signage for Rosie. Dan, if you can go to the next page, please, we can all take a look at it. So there you get a view of what it will look like when the sign is finished. Dan, if you can proceed to the next page, please. Here we have a night view showing how the sign will be illuminated at night. It's kind of a unique design that we did to show people going on Church Avenue that they'll be able to see it both ways. So that's the night view of it. Dan, if you can go to the next page, please. This is another rendition of it. You can see at the top of the page there how the sign is made, or how it look from the top view, and also facing it. Dan, if you can go to the next page. And then it's how it's the sign will be fastened onto the building itself. It's all aluminum construction, low voltage LED illumination. Each letter will be a pan and embossed face in there to give it the look at, of how it's perceived in the drawing. And then the last page is just the site plan, Dan. So if there's any questions, I will answer them as best that I can.
Thank you. My question is the, like, in the section kind of it, the wood that it's getting anchored into, is that gonna impede the ability for the garage door to open? Like, I'm just trying to figure out how it sits.
I don't believe so. I know Andrew Watts is here. I think he's one of the owners. If there's any questions, he might be able to chime in on it. But as far as I know, no, it won't impede on the garage door opening.
So like that wood will kind of span the existing opening in proud of the door opening.
Yeah, floating in front of the door itself. Is that?
Yeah. I think.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Do we recall the history of this building? If there is any?
As I understand it, it was a tool and die facility, factory of sorts. In its inception when it was built, previous to our occupancy and rebuild, it was Aaliyah. It was a restaurant, had been a restaurant since about 2019.
Yeah, and it's just a cinder block construction, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, from my
I believe the-
perspective, oh, go, sorry, Dan.
I was just gonna say, I think the garage door was cut open and or added in like that 2019.
Yeah, when
renovation.
they're late. Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, it's a pretty nondescript cinder block building, so the sign application looks good to me. It's obviously an unusual approach to signage, but I can appreciate the playfulness, and I think if it's not obstructing the building material and functionality in any way, then I'm good with it.
I'm also generally good with this. My only concern, and it's just a concern, is that this will be the only lit commercial sign on Church, which is predominantly a residential street, and that special care be given to the intensity of the lighting, and that it be dim so it not shine into the living rooms of residents on Church. Just be sensitive to that is my primary and probably only concern.
Okay.
Is there an ability to control the light output of this signage?
Yeah, it can be put on a dimmer,
Okay.
and then it can be adjusted to the brightness from the dimmer, from the dial on the dimmer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. And if it's got the ability for ownership to adjust it, if they receive any feedback, that's a really nice neighborly approach.
For sure. We'll be sensitive to the wonderful neighborhood we're coming into, getting to know our neighbors already, and very excited to come into such a beautiful place. So we want to add to it, not, offend it, right? Or anyone. So yeah, we'll be aware of that.
If no one else, I can make another motion. All right, I move to approve as presented with the condition that, as the applicant said, there will be a dimmer on the lighting, that there's a dimmer on the lighting to adjust it. That's it.
Second.
Second.
All right, seeing no other hands, hearing no other comments. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Flaherty,
Yes.
Mr. Frondorf,
Yes.
Ms. Lamb,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Persons,
Yes.
Mr. Crivisano,
Yes.
and Ms. Marinucci.
Yes.
All right, Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Thank you very much,
All
board.
right. Yep, we will, we'll be in touch with next steps. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. One last thing before we go. It had been stated in emails. if we could keep this confidential, we haven't announced our name. We're going to be careful about that, methodical about, kind of divulging our concept and all that. So if everybody could just keep it quiet for now, I'd really appreciate it. And thank you
We
for your
can do that.
endorsement. We'll see you there.
So quiet. There's not even a response. Just
Like it didn't happen. Thanks, everybody.
Huh?
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. All right. Next up, we have two cases that are kind of related to the extent that they're in the same, essentially, presentation package. Case HOC 25-47, which is some banners being proposed for Urban Community School, and then HOC 25-44.2. It's kind of an expansion of the previously approved case HOC 25-44, which was for Ohio City banners that were proposed over by Market Avenue. These are more of those banners, but since they're related, they're all banners, different, different people paying for them, I guess is how I would describe it, but the same kind of plan. So with that, I will turn it over to Taylor.
And Dan, before you do that, then I should, if it's on behalf of OCI, I should recuse then from both banner presentations.
Noted.
I will be as well.
Perfect.
Dan, point
Anyone
of,
else?
no, I am, as of this week, I'm officially not on the OCI board anymore, so I don't need to recuse for that reason. However, my kids do go to Urban, and I do, pay tuition, so I'm not sure if that counts or not. You let me know.
It's probably best to play it safe.
Okay. I will also be recusing then for this one.
And with that, yeah, thank you. Margaret, are you, unless your screen went dark, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Would you mind stepping in as chair since our chair had to recuse?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much. And yeah, Taylor, do you want to just walk us through the proposal? And we can, hopefully suss out which ones with which project by the time we get to a motion.
Great. Can everyone hear me? Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's quietest outside, I think. But so this is, just back to talk about these community pole banner projects. As Dan mentioned, we had come once for part of Ohio City specifically's project, but just kind of stepping back in to do both projects at once. Hopefully it makes the most sense this way, but next slide, please. All right. So what I'll do is I think I'm just going to start by just kind of explaining both projects overall and their collaboration, and then I'll get into Urban Community Schools project specifically, their designs, their maps, and then kind of transition into Ohio City's part of it. So yeah, so for just some background, this project was at one time Urban Community School was a piece of the Ohio City's larger banner project, but then Urban Community School decided to kind of branch off into their own just so that they could highlight their campus partners and their school a little bit more specifically. So the projects are very similar and are, kind of being done in a collaborative way because they're both in the neighborhood and were inspired by the same idea, but they are technically separate and there are some pretty important distinctions between them. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a general map of Urban Community Schools project. They essentially are just going to go all the way around the campus, so up 47th, down Lorraine, and then back down 50th. And the banners will represent all of the campus partners. So there's about 6 that you can see on the list that they'll all have a different design. Yeah, and they'll be up essentially permanently, they'll be as long as they're allowed, they would like to have them up for as long as possible. So next slide, please. This is a kind of a map just showing where each pole is, and the descriptions will make more sense once we see the designs. But where there's numbers in white, that's the stretch of Lorraine, where those ones will be Urban Community Schools designs. But on that other side of Lorraine is where kind of the collaborative area happens. So that's where Ohio City, each pole, right across from the Urban Community School pole, there'll be a Ohio City banner too. Next slide, please. This is just kind of a guide to show how the Urban Community School banners were designed. Because you'll see that sometimes an organization is on a pole, so on both sides, and sometimes it'll be the partner and an Urban Community School banner. So we try to be pretty specific about which way, there's a lot of logos and text. So just sort of a guide for that. But on the next slide, this is Urban Community Schools design. So it'll either be shown like this where they're on each side, or we'll use that design and a partner in some cases. But the next slide. This is one of the partners, Facing History and ourselves. And I guess you can just kind of go through the next few pages. Or just all of the, so kind of makes the most sense visually, but yeah, so sometimes it's just the partner, and sometimes it's the campus partner and Urban Community School. Yep. I think. Yeah, that's the last one. Yeah, so those are Urban Community Schools designs. And then, so now I'll kind of get into how the projects connect. The blue dots will be the poles that are Ohio City banners, and then all of the green dots show you where Urban Community Schools banners are. So it's just that one stretch of Lorraine between 50th and 47th where Ohio City and Urban Community School will be seen on opposite sides of the street. Next slide. This is just kind of a rendering of that idea. So yeah, they'll be both on display. The next slide, please. So these are Ohio City designs, which were part of what we presented last time. These are utilized in every section of Ohio City's project. So we're starting with a first phase, but there'll be 2 or 3 other ones after that. And anywhere you see that it says Ohio City banners, these are those banners. Next slide. Just a rendering of how they look, the pairings. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is that first part of the first phase, along with the ones by Urban Community School that was presented last time, which will also include some designs for the West Side Market. And I think on the next slide is are their designs, which is slightly different than the first time. We added an apostrophe S and took away the random dash, but pretty much the same as last time. But yeah, those are West Side Market designs. And yeah, some renderings. And on the next slide, I believe we'll get into sort of the rest of the project. It's a lot of dots, but this is kind of the next section is just more starting near where that ended on Lorraine for the first phase, stretching all the way down to connect it to those Urban Community School banners, and then part of Fulton as well. And all of these will be Ohio City banners. Next slide. Then this is kind of the final area. So down near like Hingetown on Detroit, there'll be Ohio City banners, and then Irishtown Bend will have some along that section, which those designs are not finalized yet. They're still sort of working on them. So we'll probably come back, to show those designs, but just so the Ohio City ones in the previous slide will be where all those blue dots are, and then the green will eventually be Irish Town Bend banners. And next slide. Just some information about the banners and their size. Yeah, really, yeah, next slide, please. And then this is just a little bit about their installation. They'll be installed on these banner saver brackets required by the power company, which will be stainless, like pictured. And yeah, we'll have to put a new one on all of the poles, but that's what that'll look like. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. I think the design of the banners is very nice. My question is, how did you decide on the quantity
of poles?
Yeah, was it just like we're gonna put a banner on every single pole and it's standing, or was there more in that went into the decision?
Yeah, it was essentially that Ohio City Incorporated, someone from OCI went around and kind of just looked at all of the poles. I believe that this has been done in the past by OCI, so I think trying to utilize the same ones that had been talked about in a different project, but just avoiding any that were definitely not going to be approved by the power company, that have like big transformers or any crazy wires on it. But and also in the areas that make the most sense to connect kind of like the organizations they'd like to highlight. But yeah, it was just OCI's decision of which ones they wanted. That answers the question.
It just looks like a lot of spots for banners, but I'm not gonna nitpick that.
Yeah, and I guess it is worth noting too that these ones haven't. Cleveland Public Power is still reviewing all of them, so there is a chance that they say there's one, pole that can't be used. We kind of just put as many as possible because they can deny based on just electrical equipment on them. So far they've let us use every one, but yeah, so some could be weeded out.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Anybody else?
I've had just a general question, maybe. I think the last time our design review considered a project in the right of way that wasn't tied to private property, we kind of talked about maintenance. I wasn't sure if this project has an end date, and if it doesn't have an end date, do we have any sense of how maintenance will occur and kind of who's managing this, and how we know this won't turn into a bunch of tattered banners all around the neighborhood?
Yeah. My understanding is that Ohio City would also like them to be thought of as permanent additions throughout the neighborhood. I know the Market District ones will come down around the holidays when they put up the lights on the poles. But as far as maintenance goes, just me staying in connection with Ohio City, and thankfully I live in the neighborhood, so I can see any that look kind of off. But they should be fine for at least 3 years. So I would say in about 3 years was when we'll do like a big survey to make sure that everything is still looking good, and then just changing them out as needed. But yeah, as long as I'm in Cleveland, and we'll work together to make sure they're maintained and look good.
I suppose my other question, I don't really think there's an answer, and this is maybe outside the scope of this board, but say some other business wanted to represent themselves on a banner. There's only so much pole space. I don't know what the mechanism is for like sharing space. Again, no need to reply to this. I just am curious on how we can all make sure that we continue to seamlessly work together. In case we decide within 3 years to change or update.
Totally. Cleveland Public Power does require renewing the poles every year. And I think that in the case that Ohio City will technically have a permit for a year at a time. And in the case that someone else wanted to use the poles, I think that's when it would come up, would be when their permit expires, that maybe Cleveland Public Power would pass those ones on to someone else interested. But yeah, I don't know those full details.
Thank you so much. Great project and support. I'm ready to vote yes.
Anybody else? If not, a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All right, seeing no other hands. Let's see. Pay attention to who's recused here. Ms. Flaherty.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Persons.
Yes.
Mr. Trevisano.
Yes.
And Ms. Lamb.
Yes.
Madam Chair, motion passes by a vote of 5-0 with 3 recusals. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes our certificate of appropriateness reviews. So we did, we've got Jessica Beam here from the Landmark staff, because we did want to share with you guys an update. Some of our Landmarks Commission adopted guidelines. So Jessica, I don't know if you want to take over the control the presentation here and walk us through our new siding guidelines.
Thanks, Dan. Hi, everybody. This is 5th time doing this, last committee that we've got this week. So as Dan mentioned, we have a new residential siding and exterior elements guide that is now working with our other existing guides. And so we've got a little kind of presentation to kind of explain it a little bit, and I'll go through what's in it and kind of how we're using it. But our existing guides have been updated so that they have the same format and same layout to kind of have a little bit of cohesion between all of our stuff. And we've kind of consolidated the names a bit. And so instead of having policies or guides, it's all guides or guidelines. Policy of what we do and the steps we take are inside these guides, but just kind of have a naming convention the same. And so our new residential siding exterior elements guide is really has the same function as our other guides. It documents our current standards that we have based on kind of how our committees and our commission have treated projects in the past, and on as well as, you know, the Secretary of the Interior standards, National Park Service resources, and looking at other design guidelines from, you know, other places, just whatever resources we have to kind of make sure that we have a good guide and understandable guide. It explains the project review steps when there are siding changes or exterior changes that weren't already covered in the roofing and windows and solar panels. It also creates transparency for our contractors, homeowners, general applicants, for our committee members, for the commission, and for staff on what we're seeing, what we would recommend that people do to their homes in our historic districts and on our landmarks, and kind of the steps to take if it's, you know, going to be different than that, and what can be administratively reviewed. So as staff, we'd be able to sign off on what would then, if it doesn't meet, you know, the standards that we have for the staff level review, it would go to the design review advisory committee, as you guys are used to, making a recommendation, and then possibly Landmarks Commission, depending on the scope of work. And so it's really putting down into word what we already do and how we already kind of take care of these projects as they come through. And so it'd be up to the committee and the commission to kind of determine if whatever's in front of you is okay for not fitting in with the review that we've already done. And so as you guys are all well versed in doing, and So looking back at kind of how we developed this, looked at the past 2 years worth of projects that included vinyl, or not vinyl, but any kind of siding replacement project, how they're treated, what approval levels they got, what changes they were making, and a lot of it came down to materials, style, and profiles. And so we want to make sure that either the existing appearance is kept or the original appearance, if we can get the original appearance through pictures or through other evidence. And so the main projects that we see are either original or current siding repainted or retained, upgraded siding proposed or replacement, vinyl to vinyl, and wood being replaced with replacement or new vinyl. And so our guide kind of goes into what we want to see in those specific cases, as well as adding the kind of cases of the few homes that we have left with asphalt siding, if a home has decorative siding, how that's treated. Anything that is masonry kind of is not included in this guide, and most of masonry advice, we are referring people to the Storefront Renovation Program Design Manual, which is a great resource for commercial buildings and brick and masonry structures like that. Possibly could change in the future, but this is specific to mostly like frame homes and buildings. So the guide is split into different sections and kind of reviewing how we review things, what we like to see, what is current or common in the Cleveland area, as well as what our recommended treatments are for various case studies that we have, and links to more resources. And so initially we want to see matching style and profile in wood, fiber, cement, or composite options applicable. There are a wide variety of composite options out there, just as there's a wide variety of vinyl options out there. And so if something is a question at the staff level of, is this a composite or is this a vinyl, that would go to the committee if it's something that staff isn't able to make that agreement on. Some siding that's not typically considered appropriate would be vinyl clapboard, shingle, a vertical, or drop siding. And this guide is specific to renovations, not new construction, which is a completely different animal. So kind of existing homes. One thing that we're trying to encourage is the reinstatement of trim on homes that do not have trim currently. A lot of times homes that have replacement siding of aluminum or vinyl, the trim around the windows was lost. And so we want to either have that restored, have that put back, or have a new trim put on, depending on the type of project or whatever's being reviewed. And so we want to really have those elements of typical character that we see on homes in the Cleveland area put back. And so guide also has pictures and little educational bits. So definitely feel free to give it a read. I should have counted how many pages, but it's a number of pages. The biggest portion is the case studies, which is the recommended treatment. So this kind of outlines at the staff level, if someone walks in and they have a particular project, we can look at this and say, okay, you are replacing with upgraded materials that match the original style and profile. We'd be able to sign off on that. Or they're coming and restoring or retaining the primary facades and then changing to vinyl or any material on the non-primary facades. And so specific to primary facade versus non-primary instead of front or side, because we have to, catch the homes that have empty lots next door or on corners and things like that. If a proposed change isn't included in these recommended treatments, we're kind of working with the applicant to say, hey, you could do these things, change your scope of work to fit in with this, and you wouldn't have to go to design review or scheduled a design review. Just the same way we do that now. Also, it includes resources to find extra information. The guide was originally going to have maintenance information and architectural style guides, and it got way too long. So those can be found at the library or online, as well as resources to city, state, and federal information about hazards or renovations and other resources for people to find. And also National Park Service briefs relevant to exterior changes. And so we've got this available to all of our committee members. It's in the Dropbox link that I send when I send the agendas out. there should be a folder that's landmarks, guidelines, or policies, and that has all of these in there. And then when we are talking to applicants or like a contractor or a homeowner, there's a link that we send out that has all of our design review information, and that also includes these guides. And if they come in, we'll print it out and give it to them. We also have a handy half sheet that kind of is the pared down version of all of these changes. All of this information available, kind of a handy, a lot less words. And so we have that as well. And we're working on getting this information up on the website. And so we'll hopefully be able to, in the future, have more a website that has this information easily accessible for people to find, so they don't have to initially reach out to us before they are receiving that. And then this will be also sent out in an email later today in a little bit. Yes, any questions?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you for putting this together. I think that was really excellent that you looked through the prior projects to see where we can reduce administrative burden and kind of streamline things and front load all these requirements. I know, like, for example, home heritage loan, like they say what will satisfy the requirements, and then it's very easy. So I think that's really smart that we're doing. My only suggestion would be, sometimes I think when cases come through here for citing it, I almost feel like applicants are confused as to actually what specific products might satisfy the requirements, particularly when it comes to wood. I think some people, I just think there's maybe some confusion. But I think maybe having a list of suitable products, like a particular piece of lap siding and where you can find it, that might help applicants, especially who might not be working with a GC. Could be helpful, but that's just like a side comment. I think this was great. Thank you for putting this together, and please thank all the staff and commission members that worked on this.
Yeah, thank you. We do run into the issue of not being able to recommend certain places or things just from the city level. And so it gets a bit tricky on trying to explain something without actually recommending a specific material or company to reach out to. But yeah, so we definitely want to continue having that conversation, especially with contractors and homeowners, of like, these are other options you have. Because yeah, that does get
Jessica, could the legal department, would they be could it just be really clearly like, the city of Cleveland does not endorse or recommend any particular product. Here is a list of commonly used materials. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I am similar where I can't ever recommend, for example, a contractor to a client, right? Like, they need to hire a contractor fully within their own right. But if there's a list, or I have clients who are happy with this contractor, I can like share that information.
Yeah, I guess the city's always been very, cautious, sensitive about that. So we, instead of saying hardy siding, we have to say cementitious siding. It's, yeah, I suppose we can see how far we're able to push it, but
I think just even
yeah,
to save yourself.
It does get sticky.
Yeah, and I can understand that the legal department's wanting to protect XYZ, but if you're going to answer the same exact question 35 times, I don't see why a disclaimer can't just be used and then said, that said, here's a list of materials to consider, or materials that exist. Do with this information what you will.
Right.
I wonder if there's a way
in the interest
to,
of making your life easier.
Yes.
I wonder if there's a way to not have the city do this. Like, can I just do this as a private citizen? I'm trying to think how we can do this. Like, we had an example of this with the windows. We had to pull up the actual products from a previous case, and then I think they just picked that. Wood window sashes is a really common one. No one knows where to get it. I know it's Cleveland Lumber on Madison. I know that they're produced by B&B Wood Products, and it's like, trying to figure out how to get information in people's hands so they could just rapidly do the project. I don't want to
Yeah.
detract. I know there's constant capacity challenges, and if you're working with legal department, I'm sure that's not fun. But
Yeah, but also
an idea
I
maybe
guess
for we can help with.
recall that
if
Shaker Heights used to have, they still maybe do have a list of suppliers and contractors for restoration. I mean, if other jurisdictions have figured this out, surely. Surely we
surely
can.
what? Surely.
Surely Cleveland could.
I guess what I was going to say is I think both Jessica and I don't, neither of us disagree with everything that you guys are saying. If I think Ohio City, wanted to put out a pamphlet for its residents that was more specific than ours can be, just sort of like a, there's, I guess here's how to find the Landmarks Commission's guidelines and guidance. But in addition, here's some other helpful info. I mean, that's something I think we'd be happy to discuss and work with you on.
Yeah,
but I don't,
Dan,
don't
we'll
know
reach
that-
out and schedule something.
Okay.
That seems like a really appropriate resource that we could help offer on our website.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better way to do that. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, I could say like, here's the link. To supplement that link, we also, here's a list of products or suppliers that are commonly used.
Right. Yeah.
You could have paint too, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
Sure,
yes.
should be all right there. Yeah.
Paint's always a funny one here in town. You know what I mean? It's like we all use Sherwin-Williams palette for pretty much everything we talk about, but then it doesn't have to be Sherwin-Williams. But here's the name.
Feel free to add me to a list of volunteers if we decide to like figure out what siding products are people using. I'll sacrifice myself to that committee.
Noted.
Thank you, staff.
But yeah,
Housing.
I just want to add also, it's an awkward thing that I really haven't figured out the best way to mention it, but I've been letting all of our committees know as well that one of our commission members, Alan Dreyer, a longtime commission member, did pass on October 18th. And so we are very sad with, as Landmarks Commission, he's been on the commission for a very long time. He's also a long time clerk for city council. And so very, very involved in the city. And so his family is doing a celebration of life on November 15th. And so we are happy to pass on more information as needed, but yeah, just letting all of our committees know about that, change in our kind of commission umbrella.
Thanks, Jessica. I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I haven't figured out where to put it. Usually I like tried it at the middle, in the beginning. It's always hard to say. But that's all I have for the extra staff report. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have on the agenda for today. So
Okay, we'll officially call
yeah,
today's
thank you all.
meeting adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.